We've got to talk about some single names because big tech, Romaine, has had a lovely little run over the last week or so.
Yeah, absolutely. And that lovely little run is partly because of that board that you just had up there with that real yield at -1% here. That's given a little bit more impetus to sort of rotate back into some of those big cap tech stocks here. You talk about Apple, you talk about Amazon hitting a record high yesterday. You talk about Google hitting a record high, Alphabet, I should say, Microsoft as well. And you take a look at Apple today, 143.18. Keep in mind, Apple's all-time high, that was set all the way back in January, so it's a little bit of a relative laggard here. 143.16, that is all-time high. It came within a penny of that yesterday. Of course, trading in the pre-market, slightly above that today. All of the big cap tech names right now up about a percentage point or more here in the pre-market. Flip up the board because the other talk of the town still continues to be some of those Chinese ADRs. You're seeing Didi down for a third straight day here. Full Truck Alliance, of course, YMM, that's the big sort of Uber-like ride-hailing service for freight trucks. That's down a second day. But I want to turn your attention to XPeng, and this is something that Tom actually touched on a little bit earlier. The idea of a lot of these companies selling shares here in the United States. A lot of these companies now are starting to go back home. XPeng had a so-called homecoming listing today over there in Hong Kong. The trade ended flat on the day, and it's interesting because the sort of impetus for doing these homecoming trades was because of the potential for U.S. regulation and U.S. scrutiny. And, of course, now the concern here is that it's really the Chinese scrutiny that may call a lot of these companies back home to China and, in some cases, maybe back into the private market.
Maybe back into the private market, but also, John Farrell, back into a central bank that is acting as part of the communist experiment in China.